Hi, this is Greg with Lionquestfitness and first video of 2026. And today we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some old school shooting via Rex Applegate and the way they taught our guys in World War II to shoot. The 1911. So let's talk about it. First, let's talk about the tools. What we have here, a Zula belt, a Zula holster for 1911. And this thing, it didn't take much break-in time on it. It's actually very comfortable. Almost to the point, I might even consider carrying a 1911 at certain times. Now, with the holster and belt, they've got a one magazine carry case. And got some Chip McCormick magazines. So let's talk about the Rock Island Armory 1911 GI. Now, is it an exact duplicate of what they used in World War II? No, but it's fairly close. And this is a nice looking gun. I haven't had any problems with it. It seems to cycle ammo very well. And, they're not very expensive. Now, on the downside, they do use cast frame, also MIM parts. So it's not a gun that you're going to take out and shoot 500 to 1,000 rounds every other weekend. All right? But for my purposes, this has been a very good purchase. So let's talk about how we shot today and how we're going to shoot today. Now, for years on YouTube, there's been a video, an old government video from World War II that's been bouncing around about advanced techniques with the 1911. And these are some of the techniques that Colonel Rex Applegate taught the OSS. And of course, being something old and dated, one-handed shooting, and maybe some safety violations in filming the video, a lot of people crack on it and make fun of it. They're looking at it through modern eyes, not through the fact that, they had to train a lot of men in a very short period of time. Also, if you carried a handgun, you were either an officer, an NCO, or maybe you had a specialized duty such as being a tank driver. Now, the course of fire in the video started at 50 yards and shooting prone from 50 yards. Now, I don't have a 50-yard range, so I'm having to do prone at 25 yards. Something I haven't practiced in a while, as you can see. All right, the next stage was at 25 yards, kneeling. And so what I did, I went at 20 yards to do kneeling, and to make it a little bit harder, I got up, moved to 15, and shot one-handed in the Applegate style of shooting. And I will have to say this. Now, he advised two hands up to 20 feet or 7 yards. But you'll see that I didn't do as well at 15, but I did well at 10. So we'll look at that. Now, two-handed in that video, they wanted you to use the old teacup. And I had a hard time with that, so I just went ahead and wrap how I normally shoot a 1911. I wrap my thumb like this. And on my modern pistols, I'd use somewhat of a thumbs forward grip. But here's the problem with 1911s and high powers and guns along that line. If I do a thumbs forward grip, I wind up pushing on the slide release. And what happens when the gun's cycling, if you push that, and it's because I'm a left-handed shooter, it can easily cause the gun to jam. So let's go out and see how it looks. Okay, not so good on the first one. And then down here, maybe the femoral artery there. And this one was a little bit better. Okay, I got two here. Now, I had to dig a little bit. Here's where I hit that knot hole, and then here and here. So I put 2 shots here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now over here. Got 2 here, 1 here, and I put 1 way down here. Not sure what happened with that one. So how did I do? Okay, except for that. Once again, okay, except for that. And hopefully this will give you a lot more respect for those guys in World War II with very minimal training. And remember, they had to train a lot of people in a very short period of time who went out there on the battlefields of Europe. This is a hard course. I challenge anybody to do this version of their qualification course. And you're going to find it a lot harder than it looks, mainly because of moving, getting into position, target acquisition. Now, if you're using a modern striker-fired pistol, it might be a little bit easier, but maybe not that much easier. Now, I need more practice. It's been ages since I've shot prone. And I also need to practice kneeling because, once again, that's getting behind barricade, getting yourself low. And there may be situations that could arise where you need that cover behind something that will actually stop a bullet. Now, at 15 yards, coming from shooting from a kneeling at 20 yards, I went one-handed. Now, this gun has been cleared. And the technique, the one-handed technique that Applegate taught was actually 20 feet. And where I did it the second time at 10 and then 10 yards, 30 feet, and then 7 yards at 21 feet. At 15 yards, this technique will work, but it might not necessarily be as accurate and on target. A year or so ago, I had Rex Applegate's grandson reach out to me, and we talked several times about his grandfather and his grandfather's technique. And one of the things that I asked him is that, how did this work from a draw? Because to draw and to do this, you're going to have to push your gun out down before you come up. So, and he said that his grandfather never really, to his knowledge, had worked on the draw stroke with that particular technique. That this was mainly for those battlefields in Europe, close quarter fighting, room to room, house to house, rubble to rubble. But I will say, once again, from 10, 7 yards, 5 yards, you know, this is a very good technique to incorporate, especially maybe you got a light in one hand. Or even if you have a light on your pistol, you know, it's still very easy to get on your target. So anyway, some of you who have stories about grandfathers, fathers, maybe great-grandfathers, and World War II and the 1911, you know, I encourage you to share those stories. And this is Greg with Lionquest Fitness.